doesn't
everything we
change.
do, the script doesn't change, the performances don't change. You know, so the 3D is there if you want it. You've already had your.
Is it like an active shutter thing? Is it because these things are passive, but that might be part of the reason why?
Active shutter, passive shutter doesn't really make that much difference. You know, the 3D technology out there, how many people saw it in a theater that wasn't as bright as the theater you saw here tonight, the projection you saw here tonight? Okay. All right, so that's not as big a problem as we thought, right? Because literally 90% of the screens out there are half or less the brightness of what you saw tonight. And we always thought that was maybe, you know, kind of a problem, but it doesn't seem to be on people's minds. Right here?
You didn't mention 40. I didn't see it in 40, but my dad did with the, you know,
The 40, they throw stuff at you and they shake your seat. How many people saw it in 4D?
I shower.
I love
You love the 4D?
Yes.
Okay.
I loved it.
I've never done it, so I don't know if it's any good or not. It's a little bit external to my creative process. People love it, I'm happy.
That's the one format exactly, that is.
I know, I think next time we should probably get a little more actively involved in the 4D. Right here?
Hey, there were a couple things that bothered me. It's interesting because when I saw it in 2D, I didn't like the first fight scene. I felt like it kept going, but then when I saw it in 3D, I felt like
Which fight scene?
in the beginning when they first come into the caves and they trap the kids.
You're talking about in the rainforest, the night rain scene, where in the rainforest where they catch the kids?
Yeah. When
Okay.
they first catch the kids.
Yeah,
the
okay,
first visit.
all right.
But then when I saw it in 3D, I felt like I was more involved, and for some reason it felt like it kept going in 2D, but in 3D I was like, oh, that felt complete.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because we definitely slowed the pace down a tiny bit for the 3D, so you have time to hang on shots a little bit longer. So that's an interesting observation. Thank you.
Jim, let's go to this side. We haven't done
Yeah,
that.
I'm left-handed. Right here.
Hi. This may be a controversial opinion, but I really, really enjoyed the high frame rate. I'm not sure whether that's because I play a lot of video games and it's better, but I think that the thing that actually bothered me about those scenes was the variable difference in switching back and forth between 48 and
So like
24.
pick a lane is what
Well,
you're saying.
I mean, I honestly, like, soap opera effect be damned. If the whole movie was in 120 frames, I would have loved it. So,
Yeah, we're
I
not
think
quite
that,
there yet.
but
Plus, there's a gigantic price tag hanging off that little concept.
unfortunately,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Well, it is Disney. So hopefully they can. So I think that there are definitely people out there that do enjoy the higher frame rate. But the one other thing that kind of did bother me about the film was that we had just kind of gotten to the end of a lot of characters' development and their story arcs. So like Loak, who was finally stepping into the shoes of his older brother and becoming kind of the role model, or Quaritch kind of turning a new leaf, or Spider becoming kind of accepted into the Sully family. We had just gotten like a little taste of that, and that really wanted me leaving more, so it's kind of a bittersweet.
Thank you. Perfect. So that worked. No, but seriously, I think we did the question before, like who saw it as a bad thing versus a good thing, that there's unresolved stuff. But if anybody else wants to pick up on that riff, that something that bothered them around things being unresolved,
Yeah.
right? Is that what you're?
Yeah, exactly. Essentially, the movie was phenomenal as far as pace, and it kept you interesting, and really you just wanted to live in that world and watch them learn how to breathe and watch and just be there as they learned how to learn to swim, etc. But as far as the story is concerned, it seemed like the plot points were all driven by rescuing the children.
Too many kid rescues.
Yeah, and I think you even made
I
a
thought there
joke.
were too many kid rescues.
There was even a joke made about
There were any more kid rescues.
Duke being tied up again, and she even commented about it. I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
mind the
I
kid
know.
rescue, but it just felt.
All right, so who laughed when Duke said, "I can't believe I'm tied up again"?
But in a good way.
All right.
It
So
was a good way.
that's called trying to save your ass.
Ah.
Yeah. Does anybody else remember a funny moment that made them laugh, or that you
That was a
remember the
good laugh,
audience
though.
laughing?
That was not a bad laugh.
Right there. No,
when Jake was talking to Tam, he was like, "What do the other guys look like?" And I was like,
Yeah.
So let's talk about Natam. Did you feel that you got enough of him to drive the emotional ending? Put up your hand if you thought there was enough of Natam in the movie.
I thought so.
Okay, and so presumably, put up your hand if you thought you wanted to know him better. Okay, all right. Well, he's dead.
I was hoping he'd come back to life.
Seriously?
Yeah, I thought he could.
You're not old, trust me.
What?
Okay.
Is this
So,
real?
did anybody feel that was like you're talking about the Amrita, the stuff from the Tulkum? Yeah. So you want to know about the human aging part. We're just trying to think of like what would really drive people, like what would really be worth something. We never tell you in the first movie what unobtainium is for. I know what it's for, but we never tell you what it's for. It's like, who saw Pulp Fiction? Okay, all right, everybody saw Pulp Fiction. All right. They open that briefcase and that globe comes out. They never tell you what's in the damn briefcase. But we figured we'd give it a purpose, right? So the human aging, but we don't say how. But obviously it would have to be something. These guys are smart enough on Earth to create avatars. So genetic engineering, they can do all kinds of amazing, biogenetic stuff in the future. So why can't they make Amrita? They should be able to synthesize it, right? Well, we got an explanation for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to talk about one thing which bothered me in Avatar 1 and 2 both. We have shown Jack as a character who know what's going on, who know how to plan, who know what decision to make, and most of the time, right decision. But I think when in the end, when he said the spider is a son who is replacing the son who died.
Right.
But
Son for his son.
Yeah, son for his son. But we didn't conclude a spider character clearly that one side he's saving his dad, who is against his so-called new
He's the
dad.
enemy.
Yeah, and then so that I felt like at this moment now we are not showing exactly what side he is, and then Jack has so far in both movies has been taken right decision. So now are we introducing a new concept where maybe he's no more perfect? He's going to take wrong
Okay,
decisions.
so does everybody knows what he's on about, right? Now, who thinks that's a bad thing versus a good thing? So we'll do bad first. You think it's a bad thing that we don't know quite where Spider's head is at? I think we kind of asked this, but let's clarify it. Put up your hand if you thought it was a bad thing we didn't know what Spider was on about at the end. Okay. And put up your hand if you thought it was a good thing that that's undecided. All right, so you're going to have to come back to find out. I will say Spider remains an important character, and it was challenging for us to deal with that exact issue on this film. If you remember, in the cutting process, we had to get that balance. Now we're getting to see if we got it right. This gentleman.